Hi everybody, I would like to start and to open with a very short puzzle. I will share with you now a few bizarre phone calls which I received during my job in the university, and I would like you in the meanwhile to try and to guess what is my job in the university. Are you ready? Hi Barak, my student just called me this morning and she's terrified and hysteric. She just saw a snake rolling on the walls and on her mice cages. Please help us. Hi Barak, I just found this morning the sensor cable were eaten by a wild rodents, and now we are not able to get any more information regarding the temperature and humidity in the animal facility. What should we do? Hi Barak, after last night's rain, water are dripping from the ceiling directly into my mice cages. They are all stressed and wet, and all my experiments was destroyed. Can you help us? So I don't know if you guessed or not, my name is Barak Carmi and I'm the institutional veterinarian of the University of Haifa since the past 7 years. Under my job, I'm taking care of the management and strategy at the Animal Research Lab by doing qualification, education, and training to new students which are willing to conduct experiments on animals. The main species of animals that we are keeping here are mice and rats, and the reason for that is due to the fact that they have 30,000 common genes which are associated with more than 90% of human disease, on which we unfortunately cannot conduct primarily experiments, but we can definitely learn much from those animals and apply it later to human. Here are just two examples for discoveries in our lab using mice and rats regarding the PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorders, which occurs in more than 25% of the people which were exposed to trauma in their life. One discovery is we find out in rats that we can intensify the traumatic memory, and by that, we have the ability to treat specifically the traumatic memory without harming any normal memories. Second discovery, we find a new peptide in mice that reduces the traumatic memory, and now we are starting to develop from this peptide a new drug which hopefully substitute the common used FDA drugs nowadays, which have a lot of adverse events and very low efficacy rate of treatment. Also, we have the possibility to treat it shortly or even later after the exposure to the trauma. Our lab started 20 years ago with just single lab and few rats, and grown up to more than 13 labs nowadays with more than 100 scientists per year. And by using mice and rats, we are exploring and research many other fields such as cancer, Alzheimer disease, diabetes, autism, and many more. If we like to use those animals for the research, we must take, first of all and before everything, on their welfare. This is done by the supervision of me as veterinarian and by using the 3R regulation, which include the replacement, meaning find any alternative method instead of using the animals, such as computer modeling, AI, tissue culturing, reduction to minimize the number of the animals to the minimum as possible, and refinement to find the less stressful and the less painful method to conduct those experiments on the animals. It's becoming more and more difficult to take care of the welfare of these animals in our university due to few facts. First of all, our animal rooms are scattered via the university almost anywhere. They might be around, above, under you, and you don't even know. This room have a very bad linkage in between them, and they are not designated and not optimal to keep animals inside. And that might be the main reason for such bizarre phone calls I just presented you shortly ago. Secondly, we are lack of space for storing the equipment, the litter, the sawdust, the food for the animals. So unfortunately, we have to keep them in a very non-optimal places, understatement, such as the parking lot you can see here. And also, even though we have so many rooms, they are very small, they are overcrowded, and they reach the limit of the capacity very, very often. This creates a very absurd situation in which breakthrough experiments waiting on the pipeline and cannot initiate the studies due to the fact that we are not able to bring them animals because we don't have capacity to keep them. And that is even before starting our collaboration with the new medical school just to be opened this year in the university. All this situation raises the question to build or not to build. And I think the answer is obvious. Our vision is to create a state-of-the-art, one strategic location, like in any other universities worldwide and in Israel, which will unite together under one roof the labs and the animal facility that will be equipped with a modern equipment and, of course, with a high animal welfare standards for our animals. And obviously, or hopefully, I believe that if we're achieving that, the only phone calls which I will get will be such as, Barak, thank you, my Alzheimer's might just arrived this morning so quickly. I appreciate it so much. I can initiate my study already in the next week. Thank you.